Hi, friends. Welcome to my new series, Ignite Your Brilliance. I keep wanting to say Ignite Your Bliss because here's what's going to happen. When we get this project of yours started, this next chapter fully embraced, you will find your bliss. So, yes, Ignite Your Brilliance is the path that we will take to ignite your bliss. Anyhow, this week, we are going to be diving into the topic of embracing change. How do you start again with confidence? So, when we think about the concept of taking on a new project or starting a new chapter, whether that is to start a new project like creating a podcast, or maybe you want to write a book, perhaps you have a side hustle that you've been noodling with for a few years. Regardless of the project, the steps to take to start that project and to actually keep the momentum going, first start with embracing this concept of change. So, for those of you who are new to me, I am Shauna Lee, and I am a Start Again expert. I have perfected this art of starting again, most well known for having been divorced 3 times, writing a book about divorce, and then creating a whole business around helping women after divorce. We have pivoted, and this Start Again focus really is geared for helping people create their new chapter with joy and purpose. So, whether you are wanting to write a book, start your own podcast, perhaps you have a business idea, regardless of the project, starting that later in life can be, well, daunting. So, what I wanted to talk about this week was really this idea of embracing change. So, the first step to starting any new chapter is to embrace this idea of lots and lots of change. So, this series will cover a different topic every week for the next 12 weeks, and I'm really excited to kick it off with you and excited to be here. So, let's get started. Let's get started. Okay, so first we have to understand this idea of change. So a lot of people really hate change. They're super resistant to it and don't like the idea. A lot of times, especially if we're looking at some of my past conversations that were really geared around life after divorce, a lot of those changes are oftentimes unexpected. If we are laid off from a position that we thought we were going to be at long term, super unexpected, unwanted perhaps. And some of you guys might just be looking at, how do I create this new version of me, because I'm still happily married and I am gainfully employed, but I just sent my kid off to college and I don't know what to do with my life. There are all sorts of reasons why you might be embracing this idea of starting something new from where you are right now, which is not a clean slate. It is not starting over or from scratch by any means, but really starting from a place of experience and wisdom and taking that with you and making something out of it. So, whether that is that you want to write a book because you've got a story to tell, or you are going to start your podcast, and listen, I'm here to help you if you're going to do any of those things. But the first step is to embrace this idea of change. And so, being able to kind of face this unknown is the really scary part. That's where a lot of the fear comes from, mostly from the unknown. But oftentimes, the thing that keeps people from starting this new venture, regardless of what it is that there's a fear of failure. What if I mess up? What if I somehow don't get it right? What are people going to say about me? What will my friends and family think about me? All of those fears are oftentimes enough to keep people from doing the thing that they want to do. And I'm here to say, cut it out. Let's do it. Let's get started. And let's focus a little bit more on the other feelings that this change can generate, which is excitement around the possibilities, excitement for what this new venture can bring you, excitement for how great it can be. And also, I will just say, one of my gifts is that I have the ability to help you monetize whatever your skill set is, whatever your gift is. I will help you figure out how to make some money from it. Now, that's not to say that everybody's hobby should earn them some money, or should turn into a new business venture. But I guarantee you, whatever it is that you are good at, if you are not making money at it today, you can be, and it'll be a lot more fun than the way you're making money, I'm sure. So let me just look here at the next topics that we were going to talk about. Okay, so the idea of embracing change is okay, all good and well, but here's the thing: the other reason, the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, or even in light of the excitement about the possibilities, there is something about sitting in your comfort zone. And it's not always that it's comfortable or, filled with rainbows and butterflies, but comfort zones are really just what we know and what is familiar. And so being able to step out of that comfort zone is what we are talking about. So I have a little bit of a story for you. My friends and I got together at the beginning of the year and we wrote our top goals for the year on champagne bottles. So I wrote on one handstand and I wrote on another write a book because I want to write another book. Um, but this handstand one is really funny because like I can do a handstand up against a wall, but this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I want to create that picture that you've seen these incredibly fit yoga girls do where they do the handstand and it's, the sunset behind them. Listen, I have a whole vision in my mind of this photo I'm going to create when I can do a handstand like that. So I wrote it on a champagne bottle. And the whole concept was that when we reach our goals, because all of my friends wrote their goals on there, one of my friends has a really large weight loss goal that she wrote on there. She, by the way, is the only one who is even remotely close to reaching her goal. So she doesn't even like champagne. The whole concept was that we would get together as a group of friends when one of us reached the goal and celebrate with the champagne, whether that is spraying it for some fun pictures or actually, drinking the bubbles. It didn't matter. The whole idea was that we were going to come back together and celebrate every one of us reaching our goals. Um, Now, listen, some of us have talked about maybe just opening the bottle to commiserate the fact that we didn't reach a goal, but we're not at the end of the year yet. So, my challenge to you guys is what was that goal that you set out at the beginning of the year to accomplish? What was your lofty, pie in the sky dream for what you wanted to do this year? Well, let's talk about that one as we move forward. So, as you are navigating this path to reach a goal, here's the thing: a goal without a plan is just a wish. So you could absolutely spend the next few years just wishing and hoping and dreaming that you might one day have the time to write a book. However, if you have a story in you to be told, you just need a plan to make it happen. That is what I help people do in my clarity calls, which we will talk about at the end, because I will invite you all to a clarity call with me if you need some help getting your project off the ground. However, I wanted to give you guys a few ideas on how you can kind of move forward on your own. So, first and foremost is mindset shift. You're going to hear every self help guru talking about mindset till the cows come home. But there's some really specific reasons why that is important that we're going to talk about. And then also, this idea of building confidence. When you build the confidence in yourself, it gears you up for success. And then also, super, super important is having clarity around this vision of what it looks like when you reach this goal. So let's talk about each of those. So, mindset shift. Oh my gosh, you've heard the coaches and the gurus talking about positivity. There's lots of people out there talking about toxic positivity and whether we're bypassing. Let's put all the noise aside and just focus on the fact that a couple things are true. Being able to shift to the positive and focus on gratitude does so much for your outlook on what's possible that it starts this positive momentum. So when we focus on positivity as an example, we look for the best in the situation. We look for the opportunities that arise. This is where mantras can help. And I always recommend for people to put alarms in your phone, whatever mantra it is that you're kind of wanting to repeat, right? The reason the repetition is important and the reason people use mantras and talk about it is that a belief is merely a thought that you have repeated. So you have repeated this thought to the point of now believing it to be true. So if you're trying to get behind a new idea, repeating that until the point where you believe it, you get behind it, is important. And so it goes without saying that, like, you can't just walk around and say I'm a millionaire all day long and like expect that money's going to fly out of the sky into your lap. Like, that would be amazing. But what it will do for you is get you in the mindset of, this is where I'm going, this is what I want, this is what I desire. And the more you can repeat and create this belief in yourself, the more the ideas are going to come to you, the aha moments. You're opening yourself up to what is possible. And that is the mindset shift that we're talking about, is shifting from it's not possible, why me, who am I to think I can do this thing, to it is possible, this is what I'm going after, this is my goal, and creating the steps to get you there. So the first step is that mindset shift to get around this idea, get your mind around this idea that you can do it. And here's what I'll tell you about desires. You have the desire because it's yours, because it's already yours in this future version of you. And so I like to think this future version of you is just calling you to that point in time, right? So you have the desire, not for no reason. So let's think about how we can kind of shift our minds around what's possible. And what really starts to happen, which is really cool, and this is where people will call it magic. The magic is that then you start looking for examples of it working. You look for possibilities and you see opportunities where perhaps you hadn't maybe seen them previously. It opens your eyes to making the shifts that are needed to get you there. So, mindset shift, number one. The second thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is this idea of building confidence in yourself. So, there's all sorts of strategies that you can use. Google, how do I be more confident? And you'll come up with all sorts of ways to do this. The key is that you are you're building belief in yourself, that you are visualizing and affirming where you're going. So I've got 3 really practical suggestions for you. Now, listen, if you have been following me for any length of time, you already know what these are, but I'm going to tell them to you anyways. Journaling, meditate, exercise. Now, if you really know me, you know that's hilarious that I am suggesting this, but let me get you there. Okay, so first of all is this idea of journaling. The reason journaling is so important, well, actually, it's multifaceted, but the reason that it can, or the way it can help you build confidence specifically, is that you can write out this future version of you, the one who's written the book, the one who's created the whatever project, who's implemented the business plan, insert whatever this thing is that you had set out at the beginning of the year to do. This future version of you, write out as if it's December of this year and it's done and you've accomplished it and what it feels like. But write it out as if it's present tense, like it's already yours. And it lets you kind of practice as you're writing it. You start to embody this person who is able to do this thing. And what's really cool is when you start to embody this version of you that has already accomplished the thing that you want to accomplish, that's where the ideas come from. That's where things kind of fall into place a little easier. You think of, oh gosh, I haven't connected with that person. Let me reach out to them. Oh, what if I just did this? And you create these easier pathways to making it happen. So then also the way I like to use meditation at times is to visualize. So one, writing through, but also visualizing in my mind's eye what it looks like and what it feels like to have accomplished that goal. To really sit with, how does it feel when I have written this book? How does it feel to hold this book in my hand and to see the cover? How does it feel for me to be at my book signing and to meet the people who are excited to read my book or who has already read my book? Like really sitting and visualizing what that looks like is a really great way to use meditation specifically as a tool to build confidence in yourself. Now, the last one, this is hilarious that, I mean, this is just hilarious that I am the one suggesting that you should exercise. I am the queen of excuses to not exercise. But here's what I can tell you. Even me, I can see the benefit to going for a walk around the neighborhood when things are confusing, when I'm overwhelmed, when there's lots of crazy ideas kind of mulling around, when things feel cloudy in my mind. If I will simply get up and go for a walk, listen, first of all, my dog is really excited if this happens because she loves going on walks more than anything else. So it's kind of a win-win. But when I'm able to do that and really just move the energy out of my body with the physical activity, I clear out my mind. I am able to get the clarity that I need on what the next step is. Oftentimes, this is what we need to do is just think, what is the next best thing that I can do? It's not about having the full path laid out all the time. Like I'm previous project manager, I can help you project manage this plan and put together a plan and give you all the steps. Oftentimes, that's not what we need to do, though. What we need to do is just think about what is the next best move. And going for a walk is one of the best ways for me personally, who hates exercise, to be able to do that. Noelle wanted to say hello. Okay, so the third thing that I wanted to walk you guys through is this idea of clarity and vision. So, exercise is a great way to kind of get some clarity around where we're going and to visualize what we're doing next. But it's important to have a clear vision of where you're going. It's not always necessary to know the exact steps on how to get there, but to know exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish is important. It's like setting out on a vacation and not really knowing where you're going to go. So you could, say you're going to, I don't know, walk down the street and then go take a bus and then you don't really know where you're going. I guess that could be a great vacation. But for me personally, I would rather know I'm going to go to the airport, I'm going to get on a plane, and I'm going to go sit on my ass on the beach on this island. Like, I want to know where I'm going. It lets me get excited about the trip. It also helps me plan the flight. It helps me know what to pack. Like, knowing where we're going is important. And so really being able to get clear on this vision of what your goal is important. Another thing people like to do is, or this is why people like to create vision boards, because it lets you visualize what it is you're looking to accomplish. So let me give you a few practical steps for how you can embrace change. Now, I've given you kind of the 3 reasons why it's important, but how the hell do we do that, right? How do I embrace this idea of change being a good thing if I hate change? How do I embrace this idea of I can accomplish this lofty ass goal when I don't know how to get there, right? Okay. You simply need a plan. And you need to break that big goal down into bite-sized pieces. So this is one of the things that I do for my clients. Oftentimes, let me just talk about the clarity call for just a second. Oftentimes, the clarity call is all that someone needs, is to jump on the call with me, talk through their ideas, brainstorm. It's like talking to a therapist or talking to a best friend. As you say the things out loud, it sounds different to you. It gets a little more clear. But the benefit of sitting on a call with me is that I can create the plan for you. So what I give everyone is a quick start guide for whatever it is that we're looking at. Do you want to start a podcast? Here's your quick start guide. It gives you the steps, big and small, but it simplifies it. And from there, oftentimes, I never hear from the person again. Although I would very much like to hear when you launch the thing, because that's the most exciting part of what I'm doing, is helping people kind of launch their new babies out into the world. Um, so I love to see the pictures of the babies. But um, creating that plan often is just what people need, is to kind of make sense of it, break it down into bite-sized pieces, and then there's your marching orders and off you go. But one of the things that I like to tell people, it's like when you write a book and you know that um, for each genre, and maybe you don't know this, but for each genre, there is a word, an estimated length of a book that is customary. So self-help books tend to be shorter, so they are 45 to 60,000 words, whereas a novel is usually 70, 80,000 words. And then if you're looking at fantasy as a genre specifically, those big ass books are like 100,000 words. So knowing what kind of book, what genre you're looking at will give you kind of your end goal. That's the big goal. How many words in total I need to get down on paper, so to speak. From there, you're able to then break it down into bite-sized pieces. And then you can say, all right, I want to write this book and I want to be done by the end of the year, which, by the way, if this is a goal for you, this is absolutely possible for you to finish a book between now and the end of the year. All you have to do is figure out how many words you need, break it down into bite-sized pieces, how many words per month, how many words per week, and then you get to decide how much time that's going to take you. Now, I will let you know a little secret. It always takes you longer than you think it's going to. However, being able to just devote, now I'm talking about this book writing idea as an example, but being able to just devote 15 minutes a day 5 days a week is going to get you further than waiting for 3 hours or a chunk of time or a full day. I made the mistake of doing this with my first book. When I was writing a novel, I would wait till I had a good, half day or a full day for me to be able to sit down and finally write. Well, that was great, but oftentimes what was actually happening is I would sit down and then I would look at a blank page and not know where I was going, and I would get way less done than when I switched my approach around and I started just devoting a little bit of time each day. And I got into the habit. And sometimes people have to start with 15-minute increments or 30 minutes. But if you could just find 30 minutes to an hour a day where you're using your lunch break 2 or 3 times a week, something that feels manageable and doable is what you're looking for, and you will see the progress. So when I would say, okay, I'm just going to do 15 minutes a day, first thing in the morning, I'm going to just tackle whatever idea I had, it ends up growing, and I ended up spending and finding more time than I thought I had. So I also got to my word goal a whole lot faster. So anyways, this is one specific way that you can break down a really big goal into bite-sized pieces and get you there faster. The second thing that I want to tell you in terms of practical steps is probably one of the more challenging ones. So, overcoming obstacles. Specifically, when you start telling your friends and family that you are going to do this crazy new thing, you are going to get all sorts of feedback. Some good, some encouraging, some not so good, and some surprising. So, what I will tell you is other people's opinions, first of all, are none of your fucking business. But if you are going to ask people and you're going to pay attention to what they say, try to keep in mind and use this as a barometer for how important and how much you should value that person's opinion. Have they done this thing that you are trying to do? Because chances are the people who have not done it have more opinions than the people who have. So I have found that most of my negative feedback comes from people who have never done the thing, have no desire to do the thing, and don't understand why the fuck I want to do it. When we kind of put those opinions aside, it lets you really look at, all right, whose opinion really matters in this situation. And what I'm going to tell you is your opinion matters more than anybody else's. So just trust your gut and know that if you are being called to do a thing, it's because you're the one who's supposed to do the thing. And not everybody's going to understand it. However, there's another really kind of hidden benefit to the negative Nancy's that give you some feedback. So don't disregard them altogether, because um, the biggest thing standing in anybody's way to accomplishing a goal is themselves. So the thing standing in your way of you doing this big lofty goal is you. And so to be able to figure out what is the fear that is limiting you, what is the fear that's kind of getting in the way of you taking steps forward, you can figure it out when you start listening to people's feedback. So for example, if you were to do this crazy thing that I do, which is get on the internet and talk to strangers, and people say, well, gosh, you didn't have a whole lot of leads coming in, or your business isn't doing what you want it to do. Maybe you should create more videos. And you have this like, I don't really want to do the, maybe sit with that for a second. Wherever you have some resistance to doing what has been suggested, sometimes can be a little eye-opening if we just start observing. I find that if we just get curious and kind of set the judgment down, judgment of ourselves, and just get a little curious about how we're responding to things and where we have resistance, that can be really eye-opening in terms of what is limiting you. And sometimes that thing that you're resisting is what you actually need to do. So as you are talking to people and they're giving you feedback, and you're setting with, whether or not that's feedback that is good for you or not, just observe how resistant you are to what people are saying. Because at the end of the day, you do need a support system, and you do need people in your corner cheering you on and saying, I believe in you, you can do this crazy ass thing, go for it, sky's the limit, all those great things. But specifically, when it comes to, let's use this writing a book example. When you are venturing into new territory and doing something that you've never done before, it is really helpful to lean on people who are also doing the same thing. So to build your support system with fellow writers is a fabulous, fabulous strategy. So, oftentimes we just need to bounce ideas off of someone, or, oh, gosh, I'm stuck on this one thing. Have you ever encountered this? What did you do that was helpful? Being able to just have this camaraderie is helpful, but also it can be kind of a built-in accountability. So when you are, my neighbor and I like to do this sometimes, where we will go sit at a library or a coffee shop and we will work together. We're not chatting, we're not visiting, we're just simply going because we're making each other sit down and write. And it can be a really helpful way to kind of build a support system, but build in some accountability too. Make sure that you're actually getting those words down on paper. If you've said you want to write a book, you need to write. So, those are my suggestions for you in terms of how you can embrace change, how you can really start again on, and I say start again, but where you can start this new goal wherever you are in life and actually build some momentum and get there. So, my question for you to ponder is, what was that goal that you set out for in 2024? What did you say you wanted to do this year that maybe you haven't even started? I say this all the time, but it is, baby steps are better than no step. What is the one thing that you can do to get you closer to your goal? Maybe it is just scheduling a call with me so that we can talk through what it is you're wanting to do. Now, listen, if you need some help and you want a little bit of a private strategy session, that's this clarity call, and it can be super helpful. I would invite you to schedule that call and let's chat about your idea. And what you will get is not only some clarity around what it is you're wanting to do, but a plan on how to get there. So let me just look and see. Yep. Okay. That is what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I will put the link for you below all the places, wherever it is that you are watching this video. And I just cannot thank you enough for being here and making it all the way to the end. I wanted to let you know that next week we are going to be talking about my flow alignment method. So how do you find the balance and find this alignment? This is what allows you to find your creative flow, to get into the the flow of being able to write, where you align your body, your mind, and your spirit in the same direction to go to the same place in the best way possible. So that is my info for you guys today. I cannot wait to dive into the next week's session and to be with you for the next 12 weeks. So stick around. We will ignite your brilliance. All right, everyone. Talk soon.